That's okay too. There we go.
It's called. I didn't think you had one in person.
Really thought you don't have. Oh, shit.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Connect call this morning. I am excited to see all of you. I would love to hear from you in the chat. How are you arriving today? What has opened up for you since our call last week? How are you arriving? It's that time of the year again where everything is super busy. Morning, Narelle. Nice, good. Okay, how are you all arriving? Today, we are going to build a power hour that actually works. I know that power hours are not a new thing. So, but we're going to, you're arriving anxious today. Okay, I love that. Please share in the chat how you are arriving today. Today, we're going to design a power hour that actually works and that gets you results in a calm and regulated state so that you get the results that you're looking for. So Nu is arriving in good energy. I love that. And I would love you to share, just as an experiment, one thing that you did in this past week that you'd completed before 11 a.m. So take a moment to think about something that you did that you had said you were going to do that you completed before 11 a.m. and pop it in the chats. Ah, Ellie, no good that you've got flu. Alrighty, so get your pens out, get your notebooks up. Okay, so Kathleen followed up with 10 people. Yay, I love that. Who else has done something in this past week and they got it done before 11 a.m.? Exercise counts if that was a commitment. Absolutely, Justine. Adele sent 10 voice notes to customers. And then we're looking at work-related stuff as well. So yes, exercise counts. Laren, you've been off sick. I'm glad you're better today. Great. Okay, so type in the chats one thing that you did, a tiny win that you did that was successful, that it happened before 11 a.m. Reached out to my Bordeaux South group. Yay, Olga. Well done. Well done. Good. Okay, so we're going to keep that in mind and we're going to start today's work like we normally do with a little bit of anchoring and a little bit of breath work. We're going to regulate first. So I'd love you to sit up in your chairs, straighten up your spine, open up your mid area so that we can breathe nicely, and just settle yourself in your chair and take a nice big deep breath all the way down to the bottom of your stomach. Make it a belly breath, not an upper chest breath. And then hold it there at the bottom of the in-breath and notice what's happening in your body as you are holding your in-breath there. Notice how your heart rate changes. Notice what's going on in your body. And then slowly release the out-breath. Imagine you're breathing out through a straw and hold the out breath. There's Justine on camera. I love that. If you guys are able to put your cameras on, it's so nice to see your faces and to work together as a community. Okay, and now take your ring finger and your thumb and press the tips of the fingers together. And I want you to feel how your lung capacity expands when you do this. And take a nice big deep breath. And feel how much more air you can take in. Hold that in breath at the bottom. And again, breathe it out. Count to 6 as you're breathing out. And when the air is out, just roll your neck a little bit, loosen up your shoulders. Feel how your body is softening now as you're doing this breath work. Notice what your body is talking to you about. And for the last breath, we're going to again use our fingertips and take a big deep breath in. Bigger, bigger, bigger. And And when you think that you can't take in another breath, take in one more sip. And then I want you to blow it all out. Everything, empty everything out, then shake it out. Whatever you're bringing into this call today that doesn't need to be here, just shake it out, check it out, check it out, and then come into the room with us. Yay. Cool, welcome. So those of you who arrived feeling anxious or a little bit stressed, I'd love to know how you're feeling now after the regulation exercise. And this is an interesting thing to know is that the vagus nerve responds when we exhale more than when we inhale. But normally when we're stressed, one of our reflexes is to hold our breath. So if you ever catch yourself not breathing, sometimes when I'm working with clients, I can see when they're doing the work, if they've arrived quite anxious, that they're holding their breath. Now you might notice this in yourself, and then just take a gentle breath in and do a long exhale. My mom used to say when things had blown over, she used to say, "Oh, now you can breathe out." And the wisdom of our parents, she had no idea about vagus nerves or about neuroscience, but that was her expression. Now you can breathe out. So that's an interesting thing. It's the out breath that really settles the nervous system and communicates that we're in a safe space. Yay, I'm glad that you guys are feeling safer. So last week we started the month with goal setting that works for the brain. And if you've got feedback or ahas or wins, the specific way that we set goals last week was to choose one thing that you would be working to for the month, and then to break that down with KPIs. So I would love to hear from anybody, even if you want to unmute, that would be great, or put in the chats if you implemented our one thing type goal setting, and what changed for you in the first week of the month that you've never seen before in any other month. If you don't want to unmute, that's okay. Just pop it in the chats. If you are keen to unmute and share, if you implemented what we did last week, then please share as well. I'm watching the chats. If you didn't implement, that's okay. You've still got time to implement it. You can go back and watch the recording on YouTube. Okay, Kathleen did implement. It was easier for you to be consistent in reaching out to new people by implementing the technique. Yay, I love that. That's great. Good. So we've got 15 people on today. Keep popping in the chats. I think most of you know me. Rayanne, I think you've been on the call before, but for those watching on YouTube maybe, or if you want to share this with your team, my name is Tanya Adams. I am a neuroscience and executive coach, and I work with business people and private individuals to help them rewire their brains to create success in their lives, whatever that looks like. I work one-on-one, I work in groups. I have a membership group, and I have been partnered with Nu Skin now for 6.5 years. This will be maybe my 7th Black Friday that we're going into. And we started this business at a time when we were looking for a business to replace my husband's insurance brokerage, and would never have considered this industry in a million years. And circumstances brought this to us, and we are forever, ever grateful. The amount of skills we've learned, the amount of people we've met, we've traveled the world to speak on stage, we've built a global business, and I truly, truly believe that anybody who wants to become an entrepreneur, the best place to start is in network marketing, because of the support that you get for not only learning business principles, but mindset as well, which for those of you who follow my work, which I know you all do, you know that I am a believer in it all starts inside first. No amount of business skills or tools are going to work if you haven't fixed what's going on inside, because it'll just derail itself. So why are we talking about a power hour today? Why is this important? So we've worked with power hours over the years on and off. Currently, we've got our laps and lattes that Dale and I set up a little while ago. And the reason why it's so valuable and powerful from a neuroscience perspective to have a power hour is because when the brain has a predictable next step in everything it's doing, it reduces decision fatigue, and it takes it out of our working memory and puts it into the automated parts of our brain. Our working memory is very similar to if you imagine a computer with its RAM. It is limited in function, and it's also the highest energy drawdown of all the parts of the brain is the working memory. The less that we can load onto the working memory, the more effective our brain capacity is, and the longer our energy will last. When the brain starts to draw down a lot of energy, we start to experience that as brain fog or tiredness or distractibility. Our attention starts to wander. And these are all symptoms of the brain's now being fatigued. And so when we have a set rhythm of when we're going to do deep focus work, that triggers for us the ability to go into what's known as flow state. Now, flow state is a term that was coined by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who is that's an interesting one. You can go look up that word. He is the godfather, if you like, of flow state. And flow state is really that space that we've all experienced where it feels like time has just run away with us, that hours become literally minutes, and there's this kind of sense of joy that I'm getting things done, I'm feeling accomplished. And this is not necessarily an accidental state. For some of us, we happen upon these flow states and then wish we could get them back again because we're highly productive in them. So I'm here to tell you that you absolutely can get them back again, and you can train your brain to go into flow state by using what we know about cue, response, and reward in the brain in habit formation. Once something is set up as a cue and moves out of the working memory, out of the prefrontal cortex into the basal ganglia, it runs outside of our conscious control, and all we need is a cue. And that program will literally start running itself. A very effective way of doing this is to choose a set time every day that includes a set time, a set environment, and a set trigger action that the brain recognizes, oh, I know what this is. And trigger actions or cues for the brain are interesting. They can range from a sound to, if you're good with time, it could be a set time in the day, or it could be an action that, so for example, it might be when I've made my coffee, I'll do this, or when I've dropped the kids, or if you live like I do in a complex, for example, you can always smell where people are cooking something. So you might have a neighbor who does something every day, walks the dog, and okay, when the next door neighbor walks the dog, I'll sit down and do it doesn't actually, whatever the cue is, it really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters about it is that it must be consistent and at the same time every day. So the brain, the mistake that people make often is, well, when I have time for this, I'll get into flow. And we wait magically for the right moment to happen. And here's the truth that I want you all to know. The right moment for anything never exists. We create the right moment by setting up the internal and external environment for the moment to be right. We install a ritual for ourselves that then runs on a low energy automated basis. How many of you downloaded the tool that I sent out on email yesterday or on the link? Have you got the tool with you? Yeah, I see some nods. 1, 2 nods. Great. Justine's nodding. Excellent. Alrighty, so we're going to work through that tool today, and we're going to use habit stacking is the one. We're going to use implementation intentions, which is a technique designed by Peter Gollwitzer. That is what commonly is known as if-then. If this happens, then I will do that. And we're obviously using my techniques of spotting the stories that are our blocks. And we're going to today use that ladder, and we're going to create exactly the document. So get your document out and let's walk through it together. Give me a thumbs up when you've got your document open.
Okay.
Alrighty, who's got their documents open? Ah, Narelle, I see this. I sent 10 shout outs a day and my page was flooded with mascara. Okay, Nats has got her document open. That's great. Fantastic. So I will open mine as well and I can walk you through it. All right. The first step now is to choose in your calendar when you will do this hour. It doesn't matter to me. Just you find a time. I will say that the brain, generally speaking, for most people is more alert in the morning. And the reason for that is so there's your circadian rhythm, and by morning, your brain might only be awake at say 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, or you might be a 6 a.m. person. Though when we go beyond 11 a.m. in the morning, the brain is now starting to accumulate a lot of fatigue based purely on living inputs. It's processing inputs all the time. When you choose this hour, protect it that it's before 11 o'clock, and then pop that in the chats when you've made the decision. Iris couldn't download it from the link. Okay, yes, I will send it through when I post the link for the recording. I'll also send it through. But if anybody else can share it, then that's great, because you can use this document often. Okay, Kathleen's got her time. Great. Oh, okay, that's no good. There must have been an error on my download link. I'll have to have a look at that. Page not found. Alrighty. I still even edited it so that it was more robust for you guys. All right, I'll resend it out after the call. But I'm going to walk you through it so you can just use your journal in any event. So you've chosen your time. The next thing I want you to write down is, what is the cue that precedes that? Time is not always in and of itself a great cue. As I've mentioned before, the brain doesn't really work well with time in the way that we think it does, or we think it should. It responds more to sensory type cues. Oh, Laren says it did download. Oh, great, good. What is the cue that happens immediately before that? For example, you might say, as soon as I jump off the connect call, which also equals 9 a.m., I will do my power hour. Or you might say, as soon as I walk in from gym and I've finished showering, I'll do my power hour. So put the cue on your page. I'm asking you to call out the cue so that you are aware of it. And one of the personal mastery tools that, if you continue to do personal mastery work, is to develop a high level of awareness of what's influencing your brain. Many people wander through their day unconscious of the fact that there's these little triggers, though my wish is for you to become intimately aware of the little nuances that happen in your day that are causing unconscious behaviors that you haven't noticed before. Pop in the chats what your cue is before your time, before your designated time. Oh, that's a great question, Natalie. Do Power Hour and Miracle Morning work together? I would say that they potentially can work back to back, yes, though I wouldn't say together. So perhaps you would say, I do my Miracle Morning, and as soon as my Miracle Morning is finished, I go straight into work mode. Absolutely. Though Miracle Morning is a context in and of itself and has a particular outcome, then our Power Hour has a particular context and an outcome for itself. Kathleen says, I'll make a cup of coffee because I always make a cup at 9 a.m. Great. So now let's pattern this out in language to your brain. Once I've made my cup of coffee, I will sit down and do my power hour. And when that's just normal and you've languaged it, languaging it also helps the prefrontal cortex to peg it in and go, okay, that's what we're doing now. And the coffee is just, it's going to happen whether you do power hour or not. All right. Ellie says, straight after the connect call, I will do my power hour. Great. So everybody's got a time and a cue. My cue is a shower, then a power hour from 10 to 11. This is a new habit I'm forming. That's amazing, Narelle. And then to remember that when new habits are forming, we might fall off the bus. We might inadvertently take longer in the shower, knowing that we have to do our reach outs, which we're avoiding, and to be aware of any tripwires that happen that might derail you from getting to the 10 o'clock eye. See, Narelle's laughing because Narelle's seen the little gremlin of the long shower that I need/deserve today so that I can get into the right mindset to do my power hour. Right, so the next step then is that we're going to do a regulation exercise. So that exercise that I did with you in the start of this call, it's something I'm going to encourage you to do before every meaningful activity that you do. And by meaningful, I'm meaning if you are going to go into a sales conversation, if you're going to go into a presentation, if you're going to go into a business introduction call, if you are going to have go on a date with your partner or your spouse, if you're going to spend quality time with your child, regulate first. Why do I say this? If you've watched this, pop it in the chat. Why do I say regulate first before doing anything that you want a key result out of? Bet you didn't know there was going to be a pop quiz today. Why do I bang on about regulate first? To ground yourself. Why is it important to ground yourself first? Proper intention. That's great. So the brain has got an idea of where we're going. Why else is it important that you regulate first? To reset your energy so you don't, we're getting closer. So you don't react, but you interact with people. So think about this. What is happening on the other side of any interaction that you have with another human? What is happening with them? I love that, Kath. Exactly. They're feeling your energy. They have their mirror neurons are on alert for what's going on in you. If your energy is scattered, if you're thinking about something else, if you are feeling stressed and wanting to spend quality time with your child's mirror neurons are they're literally going to mirror you. And that interaction is going to then become stressful. How many of you have, with good intentions, wanted to have a chat or a cup of coffee with your spouse, or you thought, I've got 15 minutes. I will, especially if you've got teenage daughters, this might happen. I'll just hang out with my kid for about 15 minutes. And suddenly, like in that 15 minutes, it kind of goes a bit weird and and suddenly you're in a bit of a kind of an argument with that person, or you had this great vision for 15 minutes of quality time. Tell me I'm not the only one that this has happened to in my life. That is all about the other person is reading off my scattered energy. I'm trying to squeeze in 15 minutes with you because I've got a gap, but I haven't released what's happening before. So always regulate first. Regulate and then align your mindset with where you're going and then act. That's the RA method. Regulate first, align your mindset, and then take the action, not before. Now let's work through Iris has got 3 daughters, so I know that I'm not alone here. Thank you, Nu. Right, go through your list now and pick 3 people. Only 3. We're not choosing 30, we're just choosing 3. Write down the names of 3 people and why you want to reach out to them today. Why them? Why today? It might be a LumiSpark customer. Why? The last time I spoke to her, she mentioned that she needed a new Lumi head, and today's a good day for me to reach out to her and tell her that she could actually get a whole new device, never mind a whole new Lumi head. Why that person and why now? Don't write an essay, just write like a one-line note. Why them? Why today? And do that for each of the 3 people. And then once you've got your why them, why now, next to each one, in the sheet, it's underneath one another. So if you've got the sheet, you'll be writing on the sheet. Write down what it is that you're inviting them to. Can you see how this is all the alignment and the prep is happening first? You are setting all of this up. You're not randomly just opening your phone book and going, oh, who should I speak to today? And then suddenly they answer the phone and you don't know what to say to them, which has happened to me. What is it that you are inviting each one of those to? We've got the tour coming up. Perhaps you're inviting them to a meeting or a demo or to receive some information about our Black Friday specials. What is the exact thing that you're inviting them to? And then after our call, when you do your power hour, you're going to make the invitations. Write down the names. Once you've done the invitation, you'll see it says follow-ups and ladders. Now, when you make that phone call, so that's the third step of RA, we're doing the align now, and then you're going to do the action, is always give your brain and their brain a next action. What happens from time to time is we pick up the phone or send DM and send it out into the blue beyonder, and we either get blue ticked or someone says, okay, well, let me think about it. That's a great response. Then it's important that we initiate the next action, not only for our brains. If we don't initiate the next action, my brain is going to leave that as an open tab. If I phoned you and my objective is that I want to sell you a LumiSpa and you say to me, I'll think about it, what's actually going to happen in my brain is that my brain's going to run a loop all the time. Has she thought about it? When is she going to think about it? What, like, how will I know if she's thought about it? Is she thinking enough? What kind of things is she going to think about? For my own brain energy use, I will then say, that's great. What would you need to think about? Can I send you some more information? Or I might say, that's okay. How long would you need to think about it? Can I give you a call tomorrow? So that my brain closes the loop and I can then cleanly go on to the next call. The second reason you want to do that is so that the person is still in the flow. Their brain is closed. When somebody says to you, I'll think about it, their brain is running the same loop. And it steals their energy, which is an unpleasant experience for your client. Our job is always to help our clients stay regulated and move forward. So by setting, and this is often people will say to me, I don't want to feel pushy. She said she'll think about it. So I'm going to let her think about it. And actually, you're not doing her a favor by leaving that as an open-ended thinking about it. Give her a container or him a container so that her or his brain knows the parameters. When something is open-ended for the brain, it gets a little bit nervous. It doesn't know where it's going with that. So the idea that actually the story I want to let them think about it, I don't want to be pushy, is actually you avoiding the next step because you feel awkward about it. Actually, you help the person. And then the last step is that so you've got the next actions for tomorrow. Now, if any of you have been trained by me on this before in your journey, you'll know that I always say prep your contact list the night before. If you don't do that, the cues are not going to work and you're going to find an escape route for yourself to do it. So in this sheet, it's built in, do your next actions for tomorrow. And then the implementation intentions are there, and then reflection. Do not miss out on the reflection piece. The reflection piece is important for honing yourself down to the 80-20 rule, because 80% of your results are actually going to come from 20% of your activity. And the better you get at regulating first, aligning your intention, and then acting and pre-prepping this, the more finely attuned your skill will be. And instead of having to phone 3 people to make a sale, you'll start making sales after 1 or 2 phone calls. And that process happens in the reflection piece, and the way that the brain rewires itself to understand that this process of power hour is good, it's safe, it's rewarding, is to go through that reflection process. It's how the brain learns and hardwires the neural networks. If you skip that step, you're missing out on a vital piece of rewiring your brain for your power hour. I wish you a fabulous Power Hour week. I would love to hear from you guys next week about what time you did your Power Hour, what results you had, what changed in that power hour from any other power hour you've done before. If you didn't get the worksheet, I'll repost the links, and I'll also check the downloadability and why that link's not working. Have a happy day, guys. See you next week.